Sabah, Malaysia, a thriving and stable state on the island of Borneo, home to spectacular mountain, coastal and forest vistas, visited by millions of tourists each year. Sabah's thriving economy is also supported by production from sustainably managed forests, agriculture and a thriving manufacturing industry. Sabah protects 3.6 million hectares of its land under forest cover, exceeding 47% of the state's total area. As more and more areas are awarded complete protection, fast-growing, sustainably managed plantations are needed to supply timber to the processing and manufacturing industries. To make this possible, Sabah's forestry department has targeted an additional 600,000 hectares of planted forest to meet raw material demand, whilst also reducing pressure on its own natural forests. Asian Forestry Company Sabah, or AFCS, is a Malaysian registered company and a signatory to a 60-year tree plantation and forest management agreement with the Sabah state government. Under the agreement, AFCS is required to establish fast-growing, high-performing plantations on 60,000 hectares of previously logged-over land in northern Sabah, whilst AFCS has the right to harvest and market the timber produced to their best advantage. The Forest Department approved AFCS Forest Management Plan envisions converting degraded areas, amounting to approximately 65% of the land, to high-quality, fast-growing eucalyptus and acacia trees. The remaining 35% will be AFCS self-designated protected natural forest reserves and allowed to regenerate. The fully established plantations will be operated on a 10-year rotation and produce in excess of 450,000 cubic meters of timber annually and on a sustainable basis. AFCS's operations are funded entirely by the America Group of Companies, or MGC. To date, MGC has invested approximately $55 million into AFCS, funding road and plantation development as well as infrastructure improvements. AFCS is managed by Forest Solutions Malaysia, or FSM, a specialist forest management company owned by the group. The FSM senior management team has over 80 years of combined forestry project experience, mostly in Southeast Asia and mostly on greenfield startups. With support of the Malaysian government, AFCS and FSM are committed to creating a world-class sustainable forest model, incorporating best practices of community development, training, conservation, as well as research and development through operational excellence and innovation. The selected plantation species of Acacia mangium, Eucalyptus pellita and Albizia falcateria are characterized by rapid growth, resilience to harsh environments, minimal water requirements, and a suitability for both saw timber and wood chip production. Both Acacia and Albizia have the added benefit of enriching the soil with nitrogen, thus improving soils previously impacted by repeated burning and logging. To date, AFCS has achieved the following: surveyed the entire plantation perimeter, met and exceeded all necessary permitting, licensing, planning and impact assessment requirements, opened regional offices, provided employment to over 200 people, constructed 160 kilometers of road, constructed the Kalimbang Plantation Nursery, which has produced over 1.25 million seedlings to support the planting over 1,000 hectares of acacia and eucalyptus, implemented 12 advanced research and development trials, as well as undertaking extensive community development and conservation programs. Recognizing the importance of local communities as stakeholders in the project, AFCS has designed a comprehensive community development master plan. Many projects have already been successfully implemented in partnership with local NGOs such as PACOS, Rotary International, Mercy Malaysia and Rally International. Community projects implemented today include a socio-economic needs assessment of all 50 villages within the project area, community planning meetings, local management workshops, medical support for over 700 local villages, provision of clean water supplies for local communities, land rehabilitation, and improvement of local infrastructure and community buildings. To date, AFCS has trained its staff and appointed contractor workforce in firefighting and prevention to protect the overall investment of the plantation as well as the surrounding conservation areas and primary rainforest reserves. Staff are also trained in best silvicultural practices to ensure that the overall project area and the plantations are developed and managed with the highest of standards to not only protect the land, its soils and water sources, but also to maximise output of the planted areas at the same time enhancing the surrounding environment. At the heart of the AFCS mission is its dedication to conservation through the protection and rehabilitation of the self-designated conservation areas and riparian buffer zones and reserves. Detailed demarcations of these areas and zones are then followed by biodiversity surveys and subsequent protection programs. AFCS is one of the founding members of the Borneo Forest Cooperative to establish a tree breeding consortium. To bring about these goals, AFCS through FSM has already undertaken rigorous research and development trials looking at different taxa, progeny sources, seed sources, as well as long-term and short-term fertilizer implications. To date, FSM has planted over 1,000 hectares of acacia and eucalyptus with the goal of planting over 2,000 hectares each and every year hereafter. FSM is also aiming to cultivate and plant an ever-increasing number of local tree species, not only as an alternative harvestable crop, but to also repopulate, enrich and re-establish logged-over conservation areas. Through such R&D trials and the collection of seeds from within their own plantations, FSM aims to identify and grow the best suited trees for the local environmental conditions, as well as become self-sufficient in years to come with regards to its own seed source. AFCS uses advanced GIS mapping and management information systems for its continued development plan. During its planting phase, AFCS employs proven silvicultural techniques and environmental protective measures in combination with a rigorous auditing system to ensure high-quality, fully stocked plantations are established and areas of high conservation value are protected. Alongside such operational activities, AFCS will continue to support local communities in an effort to create self-sustained development and secure access to their native land. The group's excellent performance, confirmed through near-perfect results from Forestry Department audits, is already being recognised. With the Forestry Department's continued support, the group is confident in reaching its desired mission of creating a world-class sustainable planted forest model and becoming a globally recognised leading forest management company through their own unique sustainable development approach. By replicating these successful projects across Borneo, we aim to uplift the Malaysian tree plantation and timber industry, using globally recognized standards of sustainability whilst conserving and enhancing large tracts of natural tropical rainforest for future generations and Malaysia as a whole. The company is currently exploring opportunities to develop and manage and in some cases acquire additional land, which would result in the additional 30 to 50,000 hectares of plantable land area, thus significantly improving economies of scale and wood supply for their planned downstream facilities. MGC is also currently in the MOU stage for several non-Malaysian hardwood plantations within the region. The group is well on its way to realising its vision of being recognised as a leading forestry company through consistent application of sustainable forest management principles, environmental protection programs and socially responsible activities.